Progress.
Good evening. Oh, perfect timing. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 4th Design Review Board meeting. First up on the agenda is roll call.
Board Member Holscher.
Here.
Board Member Rosmer.
Here.
Board Member Kim.
Here.
And Chair Chong.
Here. And now is thank you. And now is a chance for oral communications for anybody wishing to address the Design Review Board for any items that are not on this evening's agenda. If you have something that you would like to say, you're welcome to come up for 3 minutes. But again, this is for items not on this evening's agenda. See no one in the room. If we could go to the Zoom call, if you're on the Zoom call and wish to say anything for items not on the agenda, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen.
There's no one on Zoom.
All right, moving right along to staff briefing.
Thank you, Chair Chong. Just a couple items to report. Last night, the Tiburon Town Council did have a meeting, and at that meeting, they adopted 2 ordinances, each updating one updating the REACH codes, the green building and REACH codes to assure some minor tweaks and upgrades before there's kind of a cutoff date by state law to do any REACH code updates. So that was a bit of a rush by our sustainability coordinator to get that done. But they did adopt that and also adopted the updated SB 9 ordinance. That's something that the Planning Commission had looked at and did updates in order to comply with state law. Again, a few kind of minor tweaks to comply with state law, but one of the major overriding themes is it does provide a bit more flexibility for SB 9 developments to basically restricts agencies from imposing objective standards beyond what already exists in the current zoning code. They also acted to extend a building permit for 131 Las Lomas Avenue. That's a project that had gone through design review a few years back and has been under construction for some time. And if the board is aware, the code does impose pretty restrictive time limits and then requirements for 6 months extensions. And as these can be done administratively for up to 3 extensions, at which point the fees begin to become applied, and the 4th and 5th extensions have to go to the town council, and doing the 4th extension includes a 5 times permit fee penalty. What the council has been practicing and imposed at this point is applying the penalty, but directing staff to retroactively reimburse the property owner based on completion of the project. So if it's the extension is for 6 months, if they get it done within 3 months, they get half of that permit fee back. So it's kind of an incentive program to get the work done. So just wanted to kind of inform you on some of the other kind of goings on that happen with the projects after they've been through this process. One other significant item to note is they denied the appeal and upheld the Design Review Board approval for 14 South Ridge East Road. That's a project that involved architectural and site plan review and 3 variances to largely remodel, do a moderate expansion of a home, and included kind of relocating a deck. So they did uphold the decision of the board. And I would note in their in their comments, they heavily leaned on having watched the Design Review Board's discussion on the matter and heavily leaned on your expertise. I think if you ever question what's your value, at least to the council, they certainly expressed a lot of appreciation and value in your work. So if you're interested, you could just watch the last 5-10 minutes of their discussion. And I think you'll see their appreciation for your work. So that's it.
I have one quick comment, apologize. I just wanted to acknowledge there was a clerical error in the agenda that you received. It listed the public hearing one item as 110 Las Lomas Court, which is a street that does not exist. All of the other documents that you received were correct in referring to it as 110 Las Lomas Lane. And just to confirm, the noticing did go out to the proper radius, so just point of clarification. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, with that, we look for adoption of the minutes from the August the 7th Design Review Board meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes from the August 7th meeting.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And with that, we adopt the minutes from August 7th Design Review Board meeting and move to the consent calendar. There's one item on this evening's consent calendar, and that is 23 Mercury Avenue. We'll just open it up to the public to see if there's anyone here to make any comment on the consent calendar item. We'll also look to the Zoom call. If you could use the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen, and we can let you into the room.
There's no one on Zoom.
All right, with that, is there a motion to adopt the consent calendar this evening?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the consent calendar item. Do we have to say it's categorically exempt or any of that stuff?
I think we're just adopting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
We have a second?
I second.
And all those in favor of adopting the consent calendar? Aye.
Aye.
And noes? All right, and with that, we adopt the consent calendar and move to the first and only public hearing, PH1, which is 110 Las Lomas Lane. So the format that we'll use this evening is the same we always use, which is the applicant has up to 20 minutes to present anything that they like to say or present. At which point we'll then open it up to the public. If there's any public comment, we might have some questions for the applicant. And then after public comment, the applicant will be given an additional 5 minutes if they like to address any of the concerns that might have been raised. So with that, please come forward. And if you could just state your name and address.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Elizabeth Setterston, and I'm the owner of 110 Las Lomas Lane. I purchased this property about 2.5 years ago, and today is 2 variances that I'm applying for. Is one for a metal spiral staircase that is facing one of the neighbors. This staircase was in place when I bought the property, and the prior owners had not applied for a permit, so I inherited this. As you may know, all these properties in this area, or many of them, are very narrow and long. So I have a gate at one side, to the right side here, and the gate to the left side, which is the main entrance. So the only way around the house on the outside, on this steep hill, would be to, at the center of that longitudinal slope there, run down for this staircase if there is an emergency. So the only way to go around with the property on the outside is around there. Oh yeah, that would be lovely. Thank you. Yeah, I see. There. Oh, yeah. So this is the longitudinal I'm talking about. That's against the Lawrences. They have an equally long, narrow lot, but their house is down here. The spiral staircase is located right here, and it encroaches, I think it's about, my calculations, 1 foot 4 inches. I don't know if this is correct, recording it, too close to the hedge here. I'm assuming the hedge is the property line, but so maybe the other side of the hedge is the property line, but I've just, to be nice, just said that that's the property line. So, oh, here's the staircase. You can see that round thing here. So I am hoping to have this approved as a fire escape so that if something goes on here, one can exit here, run out and come out this gate. The other way, if there is something that happens here, you can run up the stairs and come out here. So there are two entrances to my property, right here, the main entrance, and then down here, the garden gate into this area. The neighbor here has written a letter stating that she supports this staircase. It's made out of metal, which is nice since we want to have it as a fire escape. She, the owner here, the Lawrences, they were trying to be on here on Zoom. I don't know if they're here, but the gentleman has COVID right now. So, oops. Anyway. Disappeared, but this is another drawing. They have written a letter of support saying that they actually would like to have that staircase since, oh, am I doing this? Okay, yes. Oh, look at that. Sorry. So here we go. There's the staircase, and I guess that's the building. So it's a different, this is just a layout. So this is the staircase we're talking about. It's a spiral staircase dropping straight vertically down here. She was the Lawrence's, the neighbor. She was making the point that she actually likes to have this metal staircase here in case there is a fire even on her side. So the fire brigade can kind of stand there and spray water into her side. So she has written a letter that I'm sure you have copies of, or is that all in here? Oh, this is here we go. Here is the spiral staircase. I'm sorry, I haven't seen this layout here. Here's the spiral staircase. This is my house. This is the property line, the hedge here. So this metal spiral staircase is too close to this hedge according to the normal regulations. So I'm applying for a variance to have this 1 foot and 4 inches encroachment on to the neighbor here. As if on the upper picture, you can see the top of the staircase and this long hedge. So the neighbor can actually not even see this staircase. It's hidden by this tall hedge. So the staircase is hidden. It's made out of metal. It could help their side if there's a fire, and it is a fire escape for people on 110 Las Lomas Lane. That's about it in a nutshell. I don't know what else is here. That's the fence. Should I clarify further, or is this pretty straightforward?
Is that kind of the end of your presentation?
It's, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't even know that I was going to have a presentation. So this is all just
Okay.
spontaneous.
Yeah, maybe is there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I think you are also applying for a variance for a fence
Yes.
that's 8 feet tall,
Yes.
where there needs to be 6.
Sure. Yes. Yes. So let's see. I don't think I have. So that's the picture of that. So this is a good maybe. So down here, so here's the main. My house has 3 levels, so that's how steep the lot is. It's not very big, but it has 3 levels. So upstairs, living room, kitchen, down here 2 bedrooms, and down here 1 bedroom where I live. So this is the patio, and here's a garden gate. Maybe there's a better picture here. Yeah, this one. And here's the garden gate. So we're talking about this fence here that's facing the public, I guess. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture, but if I'm be from the last century, as my son says.
If you could take the mic, since we're recording, if you could take the microphone with you, if you wanted to say. Or
This
just it.
picture depicts the difference between the fence that was there when I bought the house, and then you can see the 2 feet trellis that I put on top of the fence there. And that's because of the construction that's been going on there for I think we mentioned it, it's actually the 131 Los Lomas there, I believe. It's been going on for almost 3 years now, and there are daily construction workers. When the fence was 5 foot, they were all standing there, as you can see, having their lunches, having big trucks looking straight into my yard and my bedroom, actually. I felt it was very unsafe, so I added that trellis to have plants grow up. Now the plants, thank you. Here it is. Samantha has already put it on here. So the fence was here. That's the 5 foot or 6 foot. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this. But as you can see here, when the workers gather here and they have lunch and they drive the trucks, they look straight in here. This is the property, the 131, that is being built and has been built. So this has been going on for several years. Parallel to this, there's actually an empty lot also that is also going to have construction. So this is an ongoing process with lots of people right outside my bedroom fence. So I put this trellis here, hoping that everything will eventually be covered in greenery. Oh, does this, it doesn't, sorry, it doesn't. Are there any more pictures of the, yes, here, here, this is lovely. Thank you so much, Samantha. So here you can see it has actually grown up this far. Here's the hedge now, one hedge and then here. So, and here's from uphill. So you cannot see this fence anymore that I put here. Can you see, is it clear that it's all green here now and purple, pink? So this was the idea for me to feel safe with all these people here in the constructions year in and year out, and also covering this so that nobody would really be bothered or see it. It would actually just look very pretty. On this road, I would like to add Las Lomas Lane. There are only 3 more houses here, and they all have very tall hedges. So this hedge here is not taller than this hedge here. It's actually more West House on the corner, or the hedge here, or the uphill hedge here, which is a stone wall with the hedge on top. So those few homes that are here all have a lot of greenery growing tall. So as it is now, I'm applying to keep the fence that's behind this greenery wall here, basically mostly out of safety reasons for myself.
And just one last question, just to
Yes.
clarify then. So you did not put in the spiral staircase, but you did extend the fence
Yeah,
without
the
the permit?
fence, the fence was there, but I added the trellis. Yes, yes,
Trellis, which made it from 6 feet to 8 feet.
yes, yes,
Make sure. Thank you.
yes, yes.
And then is, the only question I have is just so is the spiral staircase the only way to exit that floor from that side?
Yes, to go around, let me see out. We are here. So here is the main entrance, and the house here can either enter through this main entrance to get out on the street, or it can enter through this gate. But there's no connection, but this is an ADU down here where I live. So there's no connection from this ADU into the house. So I enter either through the gate or via the staircase up here or in here. So yeah, so this, how do I explain this? You can exit through a balcony door here, but to exit the property, this is the only gate here, and then there is a garden gate. So if you want to flee the house, you can flee the house through lots of terrace doors. And there are terrace doors on the 3 floors, including down in the ADU. But you have to be able to flee somewhere. If it's burning here, you have to flee this way. So you have to have the spiral staircase to get up. If it's burning here somewhere, you want to run downhill and out this gate. So is that,
I think I mean, you can exit what you're saying is you can exit, you just can't get down to a different level.
you can exit here, out here, but if it's on fire here somewhere, in the kitchen is up here, you want to exit down here.
So on the third floor, the top floor, let's say that's the top floor is the third floor,
Uh-huh.
you can exit through the front door. To get to the spiral staircase, you have to go down a level.
No, you can exit from the kitchen. So the spiral staircase, let me see.
I
if
was
can
there
go-
today
Oh, that's
and I
right,
walked
that's right,
around.
too, you're
So
right. It was from the
Here,
third
this
floor,
is
the
it's like-
front gate up at the upper level.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that-
And then there is a lower gate that opens into the bottom level. And I went around the back, and the only way to get from that bottom level to the top level around the side of the house is by that spiral staircase. If that weren't there, there would need to be stairs or something to connect those two levels to be able to walk all the way around the house.
Okay,
Otherwise, you're stuck.
okay,
The
all
upper
right.
floor ends and then the bottom floor.
And to clarify, your middle floor, is there exit?
That's the middle floor where her
This is the
pointer.
middle floor.
Yeah.
And so this staircase drops from the top floor, drops right near here.
And then there's a regular set of stairs right there at the end of that patio. that
Right
Go all the way
here.
down to the
Yeah,
bottom.
regular stairs down to the ADU and out to the gate. So you can run through the gate here via the ADU, or you can run up here and get up through the main entrance gate. So this connects the top level with the lower level. There should be obviously some kind of escape route here. So if it's not this metal staircase, one would have to build like more a traditional stairwell, I guess, or something. Then I think you would encroach more on the neighbor. I mean, for a longer distance on the neighbor. Here, we're just talking this diameter of the spiral staircase that is a little bit too close to that hedge here. Because to put a staircase here and blocking these, that would have to be even closer, I think, if you made it regular staircase. So I'm assuming that's why they came up with a spiral staircase. It's not a bad idea. And being metal is also not a bad idea. It's just that the problem is that with these long, narrow lots, it's a squeeze. This cannot be squeezed closer to the house. It's abutting the house here already.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I had stopped by today, but I couldn't see that side. There was a small dog that really did not want me to go into the into the backyard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. So at the top of the stairs, there's no exit the other way across the top, like to
Yeah.
go around to the front door?
You can, but
Okay.
if you're down here, how do you get up there? If you want to escape.
Oh, because you're on
from
you're on the
outside.
second floor. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There has to be some connection, I feel,
Okay, all right.
but
I have a quick question. Yeah, the hot tub was up before you came or
no, the hot tub,
is new?
yeah, I don't think there's no variance or anything there. That was, I think, just added by a kind lady at the front desk who said, if you add it here, you don't have to pay an additional application fee. So I'm not asking for any, there's no variance there or anything.
Okay, and then the existing deck that deck right there isn't under review.
Correct. That was all approved under previous
I
permit.
got it, okay.
So the only things that weren't approved are the stairs, the hot tub, which doesn't need a variance, and the additional lattice.
It's
So-
the trellis and the
Okay,
the
So we
spiral.
don't need to
stairs.
review the hot tub though.
It's part of the application,
Okay.
but it conforms with all the standards. She's well within lot coverage, and it's allowed in a rear
Okay,
setback.
okay, thank you.
If there's a-
Can I,
oh, okay.
can I also ask,
Yeah.
is the staircase, is the staircase providing support to that upper deck? Like if that were removed, would there?
There was, I guess at some point, there was no staircase at all, I'm guessing. You mean if the staircase is supporting the upper deck?
Yeah, from.
No, the upper deck has been there for a long time, as I understand it, and this was put in by that last owner who
Okay.
tried to spruce up the house a little bit before selling it. So it doesn't support anything. It's kind of just added here, and then I looked underneath, and it's supported. There's concrete underneath this much, that because the base is just underneath. There are wooden planks on top, and there is concrete here where it's attached to. And then it's just, I don't know if it's, I don't know how it's screwed to the side of the house, I guess. Oh, bolted is probably the word. It's bolted here.
Okay, and so just a quick question for staff. Just a quick question for staff. So is it safe to assume then just the previous resale inspection did not catch the staircase?
Correct. It
Okay,
was
okay.
under ownership of one person for a very long time, and then the resale report that was done most recently, that's when
It
we
was-
became aware of these.
Okay, all right. Any other
Yeah.
questions for that?
Staff, so the egress, I mean, there's no dead end corridor in this situation, but it improves egress. It's not necessary, but it adds an extra benefit of that.
I would say, I would agree with
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any questions for the applicant before we open up to the public? All right, so with that, we'll open up to the public. If there's anyone here to make any comments on 110 Las Lomas Lane, if you could, since there's no one here, use the raise hand feature if you're on the Zoom call, and we can let you into the room.
There is one person, I'm gonna give them just a minute in case there's a delay.
Okay.
But I don't see a raised hand yet. Okay, I don't see any hands.
It might be Diane Lawrence, the lady.
If you're on the Zoom call and you wish to speak on this project, if you could use the raise hand feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen, and it'll notify us and we can let you into the room. Going once. Going twice. All right, we will assume that person does not want to speak on this project.
She's all in support, and there's a
Okay,
letter of
thanks.
support from that family as well in the package.
All right, so with that, you do have additional 5 minutes. Any final questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome to grab a seat. And with that, we'll close the public portion of the hearing and bring it about to the design review board. Would anybody like to lead us off on the discussion? Don't everybody speak at once.
I went to the site today and I think the fence actually, although they should have pulled the permit before they did the fence, actually I do think because everyone's looking down at them, it does add that extra privacy. And I don't see how it's obtrusive to anybody, and there's plenty of planting to sort of and the way the slope works, it's just not having a 6-foot fence is not great. So I'm in support of the variance to include the spiral staircase and the fence, extra fence trellis.
Yeah, I'm fully supportive of the spiral staircase. You can't get around, and I think it's a good idea to get around a property, and that links the lower level to the upper level, so no problem there. No problem with the hot tub, great. Fence, I agree that I don't find it visually a problem at all. I thought that was inherited, that extra height, and I was like, no big deal, who cares? You know, it provides privacy, it is downhill. The fact that that was done without a permit bothers me. And I don't know, I'm not experienced enough with you guys to know, like, how do you deal with
Yeah,
that?
so, and maybe some guidance at least that I've thought was
Yeah.
provide for as-built construction. It's always hard to not look about the fact that it's already there and you might be asking an applicant to rip something down. I think you almost have to just go blank slate and say, hey, look, if an applicant came to us today with an application for an 8-foot fence in this location, would we be okay with it, right? It's something we could make the findings for the variance. And if we can, then we say yes, and the applicant gets to keep whatever it was that they maybe had to get an as-built, approval for. If we can't make those findings, then, it puts a difficult situation that sometimes almost feels unnatural or unlogical, but in some cases, applicants have had to pull down things that got built without permits.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost like just look at it as if these were, a spiral staircase was presented to us today saying, hey, there's no spiral staircase here, but we'd like to add this here and it's going to create a side yard variance. Are we able to make the findings? And so
Mhm.
that's kind of the guidance that I've always gotten and tried to give in these type of situations.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
So
Um,
maybe to finish kind of.
yeah, no, so I think, yeah, I don't have an issue with it. The reasoning behind it with the construction across the street, anyway, I think visually there is not a problem with an 8-foot fence in that neighborhood. There's a lot of high fences. They are close together. It is covered with foliage. So I don't have a problem with that if we're looking at it that way. So,
Okay.
If I'll just add one more thought onto Brian's point about
mhm.
post facto versus, and he's absolutely right. You want to just treat it as and make your decision based on it being a request for new construction. And the other, obviously, one other advantage of having done the work is then you get to see it like kind of influences you that way. Is it a problem or is it not? It's a little easier to tell.
Right.
But had that come in as a request, we would have required a string line to
Mhm.
really show. So you still get a pretty good visual of what the fence would be like if it hadn't been built already. Would you say that's correct, Samantha? Yeah, we
Mhm.
generally require those. So just wanted to kind of add in that sort of point on
Yeah.
construction without permits, because there is that, not just is it that pressure that kind of comes on, it's already built, oh boy, but also now you have a chance, like it's already there and you get a better visual of what it's about. But of course, Tiburon's pretty strict with story poles and other visual aids that really achieve the same thing. So I don't think I'm really adding much to the conversation, but just wanted to point out
Yeah.
that we do require those tools. And so again, treat it as though it's a request for new.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. I did visit the property and the applicant's mother let me in and walked me around, and I do think this lot has special circumstances. It is narrow. I don't think it's for the spiral staircase. I think the egress is a benefit, but if we think about the ability for the applicant to make use of outdoor space. Like there are a couple outdoor spaces, you want to be able to connect them with the upper deck and the lower patio. It's a very narrow lot. I think having that staircase to just facilitate the use of the property is it would be a hardship to deny that. So I can make the findings, I think, on both this special circumstances and the hardship findings. I'll also say from the fence perspective, we did focus a lot on, I think, the Las Lomas side during this discussion. And yes, because of the topography, you can look into it. I think when I was there, the bigger argument was between the neighbor, the downhill neighbor, where it's a super close driveway, and they have a second level with a window, and there's not much planting space. So that trellis allows the vines to grow and gives a place for the vines to hold and take form to give further privacy to the spa. So I think, again, we have evaluated as-built projects and try to give a fresh and have made people lower fences when there's not, we can't make the findings. And I don't think that's the case for this application. So long-winded way of saying very much in supportive, but I do can really, I think, make these findings pretty apparent.
Okay. Yeah, so for mine, obviously hot tub, no issue. The spiral staircase, I think from a flow around the house standpoint, it makes sense. The fence I do struggle with a little bit, right? I'm not gonna lie, because I think that when we've granted fence variances, like if they were fence variances as part of an application, it's almost always some very distinct circumstance. It's like, okay, from the street, the entire property drops off immediately, 10 feet. And so in order to even have any type of protection, you've got to come up like even 12 feet just to almost appear like a normal fence. Or it's been, homes on Tiburon Boulevard that have lights that come around, Blackie's pasture and shine right into their bedroom windows, right? And so I guess I'm struggling to see a little bit of like we, just Tiburon has lots of hillside homes that look into other yards from a privacy standpoint. And I don't know if I don't think that we've, if an application came and just said, hey, look, I want a 8-foot fence because I want more privacy. I think that a lot of times we've said like no to that. And so at least as it relates to the fence, and again, I struggle with it because it's like, okay, it's already there. You're really gonna, have to rip it down. But it's like, this is like a fence that, or lattice that got put on top of a fence without a permit, right? And should not be a factor in, I think, how we feel about a variance and making the findings on like, what is the hardship, right? And I think if it's privacy, like you could argue that every single person that's on a hill, either looking down into or getting looked at, would then be deserving of an 8-foot fence for that reason. And so I guess I struggle a little bit with it. I think that the area by the door is a bit more impactful also. It doesn't have any type of foliage or anything covering kind of that height. And I'm not really sure what true privacy it provides at like a street level. Sure, it might provide some from an uphill neighbor or something like that, but I guess I'm struggling a little bit with the fence, but I also find myself, it sounds like a little bit in the minority. So, yeah.
I'm,
Way that I got comfortable is that I thought it was really steep. It's in the middle of a valley. I would think of it as a valley, like the street is coming down at an angle. So I think of the whole situation where we have the deer, where the fences go on a steep lot and like the deer can kind of jump over. And that's sort of how I got comfortable because it's an opportunity for things to kind of jump over. Because if you're on the inside versus the outside, it didn't feel like 8 feet. It actually felt pretty short. I don't know. It didn't feel like 8 feet. It felt shorter. And then when you're on the outside, yes, it did feel taller. But the hillside is coming from not only the street side, but also from this side as well. So I don't know. I'm thinking about like, can a deer jump over into it? I don't know. Is it steep enough?
yeah, yeah.
That's the test for me.
Yeah, I think I have historically been in the camp of like, well, we talk a lot about these in Bel Air, right? Where it's like people are really close and they want an 8-foot fence, and just because they don't want to feel like next to the house. And generally, I don't have not found that to be a good argument. I don't think that is unique. I think for this, I do think there's a steepness factor on the Las Lomas side. I do think the issue with the other neighbor with the limited ability to plant because the fence line abuts really a patio and then the driveway, and the fact that it is limited outdoor space and there is a hot tub there, that the inability to have some privacy because of the circumstances clarifies as a hardship from my perspective, and that's how I got comfortable with it. Is the question, is privacy a hardship? That's maybe I don't know what that is interpretation of, if that would be an interpretation of that. Physical hardship, maybe I'll look to staff and to see how that's typically
And so
interpreted.
you're talking about the fence on the other side, right? Or what?
Oh yeah, just
Yeah, yeah.
further. Yeah. It's let me bring up Google Maps. Yeah, maybe that is a question for staff. What constitutes a physical hardship? Is that defined somewhere?
Well, typically it's intended as there are circumstances in regards to the property that create a hardship. And there may be unique circumstances which I think lend themselves to the question of, is it narrow lot steep, or it has, like you said, homes on the other side that are sort of looking down. I think there's certainly the argument to be made that all of Tiburon is a hillside community. The other requirement for variances is that you're not granting a special privilege. That's really not enjoyed by other properties in the district. So I think one of the points that was raised, I'm not as familiar with that immediate area, but does the development pattern already sort of lend itself to this solution? There's probably neighborhoods where, 12-foot fences along or 8-foot fences along the property lines are not as common or not part of the development pattern, where maybe it is or isn't here. So I think that's where hardship is typically something you lean on in terms of the physical characteristics of the lot.
Hmm. Okay, thank you.
Being, whether it's narrow or challenged in other ways. And part of where privacy, I think, lands there is, as I think with design review, there's a lot of priorities what design review is trying to achieve, and certainly views, light and air. Privacy is somewhat of an issue. A lot of privacy is how interior privacy is a lot of how you achieve it yourself through your windows and your blinds. But so I think that, as Brian said, it kind of cuts both ways, because certainly you're in a hillside community. And it's hard to expect a lot of privacy. But maybe the pattern of the area sort of lends itself to the solution.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just go back to, like, if an application came and it had this on it, right, as part of a remodel or redevelopment of a property, I'd be like, no, you don't need an 8-foot fence right there. Like, a deer's not going to clear the 6-foot fence. You're not really providing any privacy other than blocking the side of your house in that section. So, I guess, again, if that application came through, I would just be like, no, I can't meet the findings that 8-foot fence is needed, especially by the doorway,
Mhm.
right? Which is obviously the most, I think, impactful of what you see of the 8-foot fence. So again, I'm rarely in the minority on the side of
mean,
of,
it
of not
is-
supporting a variance,
The
but
gate is offensive. I mean, it's pretty, if there's no foliage, to like disguise it or anything, and it's pretty barren. The other sides where it's kind of dropping down, it makes a little bit more sense to me, but yeah, maybe.
it's a flat
It
section in
just-
front of the door. So
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's not, yes, it's on a hillside, but the relationship with the front part of the house is it's parallel to the street. It's not, it's not coming right down into it. And I agree with you, Brian. I mean, that's why when I realized, I mean, again, okay, so just looking at it on its own, if this was brand new in front of us, would we support an 8-foot fence right on the road between a flat back patio and the road? And I don't know.
I think that's a lower elevation though, right?
The elevation of the flat back patio is higher and the road goes down like this. That's
Right.
why it feels like it's 8 feet on the outside, and the inside does not feel like 8 feet.
Because you're lower, you're right.
Because the street goes like this.
So it's 8 feet from the road, but not from the back patio?
Yeah.
Well,
I would think so, because I felt like when I was there,
Okay.
didn't feel like
Yeah,
8 feet.
that makes a difference. I think.
interior, yeah, I think it kind of dips down, like where the fence is almost like at a
The-
valley.
Yeah, the
and then it
fence
goes back up.
here, yeah. Oh,
I think the
I
street,
don't remember it.
I think the
being
street,
it
significant.
does go up there.
Goes up?
Yeah.
here it is.
it definitely, your patio, you are definitely higher.
It's going down, like the fence goes down and the patio stays level.
Yeah, you're definitely higher on the
Yeah,
patio.
yes.
But I also think then
That's
when
why
you
I felt
come
like,
street, you're actually higher than the base of the fence. If you look at this picture.
oh, really? Yeah, it just felt like it was lower when you're sitting here, but on the outside, yes, it was higher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let me ask you, so what about if
But-
it was,
but the foliage doesn't really need the fence. Right? It just grows. It has its own support sticks. in front.
That's what we on the.
O's. Unless Lomas.
Yeah, on Las Lomas.
Yeah. On the other side, I think
It's,
it's.
yeah, it's not impactful at this point, right? Like now that the foliage is there. I mean, let me ask you, this, what about if there was a motion that removed at least the 2 feet of lattice above the doorway area, the visible area from Las Lomas?
Where the gate is,
Yeah, where the gate is.
where the turn is,
Yeah.
the whole turn part.
And the turn or just,
No, just this section,
that
this
bit.
section right here, which is not really providing much. I mean, it's providing a little bit of privacy, but it's not like anybody else has. Again, unfortunately, we've closed the public portion, yeah.
it doesn't look a little funky though, right?
Completely mature. That's a podocarpus there.
Yeah.
That completely is that right on its own. So
Yeah,
it's-
that's on
as
its
if
own.
They don't need the fence.
Yeah. They don't need the fence. The fence doesn't need me there. The fence is permanent.
All right, so again, I'm, like I said, I'm supportive of the other things. I'm potentially even supportive of portions of the fence, but, I think, but again, I'm in the minority, so if anybody wants to put a motion out there.
Do you want to try your
Right.
motion, Brian?
I, before anyone makes a motion, I would just suggest we think about the impact is different on the Las Lomas side than the on the property line in between the downhill neighbor, in my opinion. They're different. Whether or not they both or one of them meet
Before.
the findings is a different conversation, but
Take a
they
look at that.
are.
This is before.
Right, I think that's creates way less of a corridor on the street. Maybe, actually, just quick question for staff. Applicant comes to staff and asks for their opinion of like a remodel that includes an 8-foot fence around a property in this location. What guidance would staff usually provide? Again, nothing built yet.
In this instance, I can see it both ways. I think things that we've utilized previously with fence variances is that it does have an open top so that there's sort of a compromise that it's not a solid mass of a wall, an 8-foot tall solid wall. It breaks it up having that lattice on top. So that would probably be the suggestion. I can understand. I do think that when I walked at the top of Las Lomas and was walking down from the property, it did feel like there was a section where I personally, just putting my personal opinion on it, I could understand wanting it to be a little bit taller for that protection from the street. Comparing it to the exception that we have in the code where if there's a change in surface elevation where we have allowed a slight increase in height, this doesn't meet that because it's the property against the street, so it wouldn't apply. I don't want to say I'm on the
Yeah,
fence for lack of a
Yeah.
terrible pun, but I could,
Ew.
I think there are ways, I'm not,
Right
I
into
don't
the
know.
ADU.
Yeah, but that's
What-
also that,
what-
but you gotta consider that's taken from like a camera on top of a Google car, right?
Okay,
Like
so
that's
it's a
not.
little bit
that-
higher,
okay.
a little bit
It's
higher.
that's not human height. The whole reason that 6 feet exists, it's the thing is because most people's eyes are below 6
Sorry,
feet.
Suzanne, what's your argument with this? Is it that you can look into it, or you're saying, hey, look at the podocarpus in this, they've grown so much and they're doing the job? Like,
They're
what's,
doing the job. They're doing the job. I'm
I-
usually not swayed by, like Brian and I usually have our own opinions.
Yeah.
and-
Sorry to throw the wrench at the end.
I was not,
But
I was on the fence. I was like, I don't,
I was on the fence too, but like,
so.
Yeah.
I also was like, no.
I was on the fence because I was like, I originally was on the fence because I was like, the plant's already there. You don't really need to have this. This becomes a permanent thing forever. Because once we say you can have an 8-foot fence there, you're gonna have an 8-foot fence for the rest of eternity. So, as far as we know it, so I think the podocarpus is doing its job.
yeah, I mean, I agree that we have to make the findings for fence variances because it's like a can of worms. I think the challenge, it's easy when it's Bel Air and everything's flat. It's harder when there's each angle slope is different. And you're right, I think the solution is, hey, like you can plant hedges.
It's that
Well,
great-
Las Lomas, I'm comfortable. I agree with that on the Las Lomas side. I'm still in between the two properties. I don't think it's as easy because I think there's not much space. And then if you plant a podocarpus, it's going to push into the driveway. Like I don't know if that. And like I think bougainvillea is like on top of the on the trellis, and it is providing that nice privacy. So I think they are different, but.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just, having sat through so many applications where neighbors voice concerns about privacy or the applicant voices concern about privacy, and we often send them back to, come back with a more mature landscaping plan that addresses some of the concerns, or we add like specific, plant types or sizes to the application and we solve it that way. Like if we rarely say, oh, hey, we'll solve your privacy concerns by throwing up an 8-foot fence. Like,
Yeah.
and sometimes that, we do see applications that are using fences to address that, but it's also like usually solving like a neighbor's concern or problem.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because would we have approved this with no landscaping? Just the 8-foot fence?
No, if, like-
Probably, I think that's your point.
Yeah. We would have said, no, like we not supportive of an 8-foot fence. We're, have a landscaping plan that addresses like, it solves the need of privacy with plants.
Do you feel that way on all sides of the fence?
And unfortunately, I was not able to get to the other side of the fence. But it sounds like you have a stronger opinion about that side being needed, because I mean,
At the driveway.
This
I
way?
do see,
This side,
yeah.
this is the bougainvillea, so it's half of it. This is the
Yeah, where's
back
that
side.
taken from? You're in the interior right now, right?
And this is Las Lomas right here.
Yeah, I
This
was talking more the I was talking more about when you're like actually in the driveway. I don't know if
And there's
this is a
plantings
great-
on the back, right, also?
This is, I think this is the side from like the neighbor's driveway, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is like, I think this is the more common area where we kind of support higher fences, where it's a higher home looking down into another home or something like that, and it's that fence, not necessarily a side fence that's on a street, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess maybe the motion I would probably look to throw out is like keeping the other side and the back fence and removing the one that obviously has planting solving the problem, and also over the doorway that I think.
So along the road and the return.
Yeah, the
Right.
return to the building.
And the
Yeah.
road, I support that.
I could support
good.
that. I could support that.
I think that's a
Okay.
good,
Can I ask for a point of clarification?
Solution.
Apologize.
Okay, yeah,
You'll probably make it during your motion, but is the request to remove the trellis completely or to lower it by a certain amount?
the trellis begins at 6 feet it's basically 2 feet from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
I think it's just to remove it, right? It's, and I just don't think it has any, for me, it doesn't have any negative impact because you've already got screening there on one side. It also,
just doing the trick.
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I guess with that, I'd like to make a motion.
Sorry,
Yep.
just to clarify, is the fence is the trellis
Yes.
all the way?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm
you're,
just saying the return and the part that's behind that's bordering a road that doesn't typically, we
Yeah.
don't typically support 8-foot fences right up
yeah,
against the
and
road.
what about this angle?
That angle, do you have it inside?
You might have it on Google.
I thought it was squared off.
It's like a cut angle. Also, if it's supporting like vines, like,
I don't think there were vines on that side.
can't really see it from anywhere.
I can't see it.
It's probably here somewhere, yeah.
It's behind that.
But, yeah. I just wanna clarify,
Yeah, I would say that part starts getting far enough away from the street.
Oh, so you'd be
Yeah.
better at keeping that?
Yeah,
So it's just the two angle, it's just the L.
yeah. Yeah, so,
Okay.
all right, so I'd like to make a motion that as to 110 Las Lomas Lane, that the project is categorized exempt from CEQA, and that we adopt the draft resolution with the condition that the lattice between 6 feet and 8 feet, the 2 feet on top, is removed on the Las Lomas Lane side and the return above the doorway.
I second.
All right, and do we have an all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, and it unanimously passes. And with that, we move to adjournment. Thank you, everyone.